Good morning, Northfield High School. Good morning, CCR, and happy registration week. That's right. It's that time of year again, where we make these videos and talk to you about registering for classes next year. So over the course of this video, we're going to walk you guys through the registration guide, talk you through what to consider when registering, some things to note in the registration guide, and then actually show you how to register for classes. So over the course of the next 2 days, you can register for next year, and really be thinking about the courses you want to take for your future. So in order to do that, we'll start with the registration guide. So I'm going to ask Mr. Enzer to share his screen, and we'll walk you through how to get to the registration guide. So this is the Northfield District website. You'll go up to schools in the schools tab, and you'll find Northfield High School. That's where we all go to school. So click on that button. Under the Northfield High School tab, you want to go to student support here on the left side. Click that student support button. Scroll about halfway down past the names of your lovely school counselors and find course registration and planning for 2024-25. Once you click that, scroll about halfway down that section, and you'll find this big green button. Click on that. It'll pop open a brand new fresh registration guide for you to peruse. A couple things I want to point out to you in this guide. First and foremost, we have a lovely table of contents. If you feel like you get lost or don't know where to find a specific subject, or if you have questions about a specific class, go right to the front of the guide and reference this table of contents. We break it down by subject area, by required classes, and one thing I want to note on these lists of classes are anything that's new. Anything that's new in the guide is designated as new. So please keep an eye out for new courses that you might want to consider registering for. Lovely. And as we scroll down here through the guide, as we get toward the end of the elective classes, one thing I like to point out here is the Northfield High School profile. This is something that gets sent to colleges you apply to when you get to that point in your high school career that you're thinking about applying to colleges. This will get sent off with your application. Talks about our high school and the location, the curriculum that we offer, the honors and advanced courses that we offer, the previous academic performance of our previous graduating classes. And I think the coolest thing, it breaks down the post-secondary plans for the class of the previous year. So this is the class of 2023's post-secondary plans broken down into what they decided to do after high school, and if they had decided to attend college, where they decided to go. One thing you're going to want to note here when registering, you're expected to register for a minimum of 6 credits. So between 6 and 7 credits. But one thing to note is the classes that you register for, we want them to be the classes that you end up taking next year. So it's important to consider this course drop add policy and what we do allow and how difficult it can be to make changes once we get rolling in the semester. So please be cognizant of the add drop policy. Last thing I want to mention before I hand it off to Ms. Rasmussen here is, and we try to get this in front of you guys many times throughout your high school career, but the graduation requirements. Knowing what you need to graduate from Northfield High School is vital to your experience. So you need at least 23 credits to graduate from Northfield High School, and you need to hit the required areas listed below, as well as 7 elective credits. And we'll talk a little bit more about electives here further on in this video. Having said all that, once you hit 23 credits, once you hit all your requirements, you graduate from high school. You're ready for life beyond high school. And for that, I'll hand it off to Ms. Rasmussen.
Thank you. Yes, we're hoping that you look through this guide and think not only about what you want to take next year, but also the year after and life after high school needs to be a part of that. Meeting the high school graduation requirements doesn't always set you up for what you might want to do after high school. So these pages show you what maybe a 4-year college or a 2-year college would require. For example, admission requirements for a 4-year college very well could require 2 years of the same world language. But to graduate high school in that 23 credit breakdown, there was no mention of world language. So be mindful of that. Look through these pages, start thinking about what you want to do after high school to make sure all doors are open. You want to choose your classes wisely. This next page outlines other important information. Now, Naviance, you should be familiar with that. You've been going into that during CCR. That I want you to be comfortable with, because that's where you can explore and gather information on life after high school. The NCAA Eligibility Center, this information is here for you if you're a student athlete and you're looking at competing at the D1 or D2 level. There are requirements you need to meet, so you can review that there. Listed in this guide are all the academic supports that our school offers, and your counselor can help you with those if you should need. But these pages here, this dual credit opportunities, take a moment to review these, because there are a number of different ways that if you're interested, you could potentially earn high school and college credit at the same time. So there are different ways to do this. The AP program, there are AP classes listed there that are offered. That's one way you can earn both high school and college credit. We have some concurrent enrollment courses listed there that you could choose to take, where if you meet the requirements there, the criteria, you could earn high school and college credit. Your senior year, senior honors program could be available or an option. And then the post-secondary enrollment options information is here. Yesterday during CCR, there was a presentation with information here. And if you missed that and you're interested in PSEO, that slide deck will be coming out in the Radar update. So be looking for that to get information on that opportunity. So these are things that you should be thinking about as you're registering. Don't just think next year, think beyond that. Okay, Mr. Ensrud, go ahead, take it away.
Hey, everybody. What Miss Rasmussen said is key. You guys are entering the second half. You're getting ready for the second half of your high school journey. So anytime you're getting ready for the second half of any sort of event, you're going to want to get ready for what happens after the game of high school is done. All right. The bulk of the rest of this registration guide consists of everything that we offer at Northfield High School. And for a school our size, we have a wide breadth and scope of offerings. So quick review, you've seen this before, it's still organized the same way, but this is the time of year where it really makes sense to dive into these course offerings and descriptions so that you get a true sense of the courses offered at Northfield High School for next year, because there are some new offerings, because there are some offerings that we tried to offer last year but didn't have enough students sign up. So you really want to see what's available and what each course is about. So here we go, quick run through. Graduation required courses and areas. First, the arts. We try on one page to list any and every class that we offer at Northfield High School that counts towards that arts requirement. You can find course descriptions later in the guide in the areas of interest for every single one of those classes. Subject area that has the most credit attached to it as far as grad requirements is English. This is where you can see some pathway laid out as far as different ways to approach the requirements in English. And then each and every course, again, has a description, including what grade level it's for, and if there are prerequisites involved in order to be considered for a course. It's all here. And it's provided to you, students, from our staff, the people who teach these classes, and not just the person who's currently teaching it. Our departments work together every year to update, refine, add, change, rearrange. So this is really, in that old cliche, straight from the horse's mouth as far as the info about the classes you have to choose from as you work through Northfield High School. Pausing on math. I know math department teachers are talking to their math classes currently about what is it you're supposed to take next year. And we know there will be a little bit of confusion around the name changes that happened last year coming into this year, because some of you will unfortunately think, what you're telling me to sign up for a class I already took. And that's not going to be the case. And math teachers will explain how that plays out for you. So trust your current math teacher. Know we have course descriptions. Remember to make your best course request that you can, and realize that math teachers will verify and change or modify course requests based on current performance levels and what's next for you on the math pathway. Okay. Then we get into our Phy Ed and health requirements and offerings, and keep on going through the required areas. Science next year for you as an 11th grader, whether it's chemistry in context, formerly known as industrial chemistry, or regular chem, or advanced. And then we keep on going. Social studies next year is a world history or AP world history choice. We have our special education offerings. Gets into world languages, because that's kind of that in-between space Ms. Rasmussen spoke about. You don't have to have world language to graduate from Northfield High School. You might have to have world language in order to get into the place you want to go after high school. And then we get into our, what Mr. Turnquist referred to as electives, based on areas of interest. So not by department, but by career areas, as far as, well, what are you considering going into or doing once you're done with high school? So again, every single class, description, information about who it's for, if there are prerequisites involved and what those might look like, and it's so on and so forth throughout all of our areas of interest, from art and communication to business and entrepreneurship, down to our renamed ag, food, natural resources, and tech education friends. And there's some new offerings there, by the way. Pay attention to what's new. And what's different. I got to put the word new next to animal science and wildlife, fisheries, and forestry before I forget. Health science, human service, science and technology, and bam, you're at the end of the guide. Okay. So once you figure out how to use that guide and understand the courses better, it is time to start considering how do I do the actual course requests? So we're going back to that web page we were on. Once you've made use of that guide, it's time to do the registration. And this document will walk you through that process, and Ms. LaGrosse will take a moment to explain and show you. Couple reminders on page 1 of this document that hopefully you have opened up for yourself. Schedule change policy that Mr. Turnquist referenced. If you miss something today and don't remember how to get in to do your course requests, when Ms. LaGrosse explains it, here are the words to describe how to do it. Like we mentioned, you're almost to halftime in your high school experience. So this 4-year planning document is a combination of a review of what you did in 9th grade and this year, and then a planning opportunity for what are you going to do next year, and what are you going to want to save for your senior year potentially. So one thing leads to another in this process. What are you going to do next year, which leads to what are you going to do after that? Following pages, super important because it's organized a little different than the guide, so that you can see course numbers by department, and you will understand why that might be important in a couple minutes. A lot of students throw this document into Notability, start highlighting and making notes on courses they want to request. So that's certainly a great strategy, and you can see them all laid out by number here. The last page of this document are the most commonly asked questions. This is one of those activities you've done a couple times and you're going to do a couple more times, but it's once a year, so it's not natural and intuitive necessarily. We want to make sure your questions are being heard and responded to. Here's one way to do it. Another way to do it is to ask your CCR teacher. And then another way to do it is to come out into the hallway tomorrow or the next day. Ms. LaGrosse will talk about that, accessing your counselors then, or reaching out to us as you need, according to your part of the alphabet, and our school email, or send us a Schoology message are the best ways to get a hold of us. So all that said, I think it's time to toss it to Ms. LaGrosse so that she can take you through the how do I do these actual course requests.
Hello, everyone. So as Mr. Inser said, you will want to review this entire document before you start requesting classes. And be sure to take a look at the very top of this document, as Mr. Ensrud is scrolling back up, where it talks about the pre-planning work you should be doing before starting to put in course requests. And if you need help through this process, feel free to discuss options or your plans with your current teachers, with your CCR teachers. Of course, your parents or guardians are always a great source of support, and your school counselors. Our emails are all listed at the beginning and end of this document. So if you need to reach out to your counselor, you can email, you can come in during flex, or you can send a Schoology message, or come in and make an appointment with Mrs. Knudsen. Now I want to get into Skyward and show you what the registration process will look like on that end. I'm gonna share my screen. Okay, so when you log into Skyward, make sure you are using the desktop version. If you use the app, this will not work. You won't be able to register on the app. So use the desktop version. Once you're logged in, find a tab that says schedule, click on that. And then there should be a blue link at the top that says request courses for 2024, 2025. So we're gonna click on that. And then Mr. Enzard mentioned course numbers earlier. So the course numbers for the courses you're signing up for will be what you will use to search for classes you're interested in. So let's say I want to sign up for health, which will be a required course, which is a required course for 10th graders. So you should have taken health this year. So as an example, because you should be familiar with it from signing up last year, we're going to look at health. And you just need to put in the first two numbers. So as you saw, I put in 1, 2, and I hit search. We're going to click on health on this box on the left, and then click add course. That'll move it over to the box on the right. So you've now requested health. Okay. Required class for all 11th graders will be chemistry. So let's sign up for chemistry. I'm going to put in 77, which is the first two numbers. And then find chemistry on the left box. Click add course, moves it over to the box on the right. So we've now signed up for chemistry. So let's say you sign up for a class and then you change your mind. Let's say you realize, oh, I took health this year. I don't need to take it again. So we're gonna click on the class you want to remove, and then click this box that says remove course. And health is now removed from your selected courses list. So as you're signing up for classes, make sure you are checking where it says total credits up here. So as you can see, this number currently says 1 because I've signed up for chemistry, which is a 1 credit class. You are not finished registering until this number here is between 6 to 7. So you're required to sign up for 3 credits per semester, which adds up to 6 credits per year. You can choose to sign up for 6 credits and have a study hall both semesters, or 6.5 if you want to study hall just 1 semester. If you don't want to study hall, or you're not sure if you want to study hall, sign up for 7 credits. You can always drop an elective for a study hall once the school year starts, or once the semester starts. Okay, so once this total credits number is between 6 to 7, I am then going to request my alternates. So I'm going to click here where it says request alternates. And it's very important that you're signing up for 3 alternates, because if for some reason a class that you requested does not end up being offered or doesn't work with your schedule, your alternate lists are what your counselors are going to refer to find a different elective to add to your schedule. So if you don't sign up for alternates, then we are left to guess what classes you might want to take, and what we guess may not be what you actually would enjoy. So request 3 alternates. Okay, so let's say I want to request something in the PE world as an alternate. So I looked up PE using 11, the first 2 numbers. I'm gonna request lifeguard as my first alternate. Click on lifeguard, add course. And if you look over on this box on the right, lifeguard is now listed with the 1 next to it. That means that it's my first alternate. Request baking as my second alternate. Add course. Number 2, that means it's my second alternate. So keep doing that until you have 3 alternates. If you decide, you know what, I'd rather that my counselor put me in baking and pastries before lifeguarding, if something I request is not available, then all you have to do is click this arrow here besides baking and pastries, and it moves it up the list. Baking and pastries is now your first alternate. So once this number here adds up to 6, 6.5, or 7, and this number here, where it says total alternates, adds up to 3. To close the registration process, you are simply going to click this big red X on the right, and your course requests are automatically saved. So again, if you have any questions or concerns, reach out to your counselors. We're all available to help you through this process. And happy registration.